I'll never forget Zhen's first day at the company. She clicked across the cubicles in 7-centimeter Jimmy Choos, the emerald velvet of her gown rippling under the central air. All of finance stopped breathing until the pearl drops at her earlobes disappeared into the director's office. New finance director, Lily whispered, elbowing me. Word is she just flew in from Wall. I glanced at the meeting invite that had popped up on the intranet. Zhen. English name. My cursor froze so long the screensaver erupted. Deep-sea fish. Patches of cobalt light that reminded me of the pale freckle I'd glimpsed just behind her ear. At our first project meeting she ambushed me. My proposal was pinned to the projection screen. She circled page 3 with her laser pointer. Manager Sue thinks we're running a charity? The final syllable rose in an American lilt, and the room's air pressure dropped. I squeezed my fountain pen. Its nib carving the notepad. These numbers need to be redone. She checked her watch. I want the new version by 8 tomorrow. When the meeting ended, the staccato of her heels sounded like a countdown. Passing me she trailed a wake of cedar scent laced with patchouli. That night I stayed to fix the deck. At 2 a.m. the break room lights flared. Zhen stood at the coffee machine in her suit jacket, hair loosely knotted, a slim menthol between her fingers. Still here, Manager Sue. Smoke veiled her profile. Mind sharing half a creamer? Only then did I notice she'd kicked off her shoes. Bare feet on marble. When I handed her the creamer our fingertips brushed, ice cold. A pale band circled her ring finger, the ghost of long wear. Antidepressants and coffee don't mix. I spotted the white tablets scattered across the counter. She spun so fast her hip thudded against the sterilizer. What do you know? She laughed, the corners of her eyes reddening. It's the only way I can sleep. She crushed a pill into the Americano, tilted it back, the stretch of her neck impossibly fragile. I started finding her in the fire stare more often. She loved silk blouses. Ash burned tiny holes in the fabric. Once I couldn't help saying, Director Chang, that's dangerous. There are far more dangerous things. She stubbed the cigarette on the exit sign, then seized my tie. Like the fact that your collar carries my perfume. That night the rainstorm came out of nowhere. I'd gone back for files when I heard something heavy hit her office floor. I shoved the door open. She was curled on the sofa. White pills everywhere. Fresh red streaks on her wrist. Don't look. She yanked a Gucci scarf across herself. I caught her wrist anyway. Her pulse hammered under my thumb. When she fought free, her lipstick smeared my collar. Crimson plum blossom on white. Only after she sobbed herself limp in my arms did I learn what glittered behind the wall. Resume, a bipolar diagnosis. Monthly flights to a Hong Kong psychiatrist. Her father was dangling the inheritance to make her come home and marry the VP's son. He's proposing tomorrow. She ripped off the pearl drops and hurled them at the wall. At Skyview. So original. I picked up a pearl that had rolled to my shoe, still speckled with blood from her lobe. Come away with me. She bit my shoulder hard. Tears and heat soaking through cloth. Alex. What steak are you bringing to the capital table? The kiss tasted of copper. We tore at each other in the wreckage like caged animals. Next morning the whole floor buzzed that the VP's son had booked Skyview. Outside her office I watched through the blinds as the hand-wearing Cartier signed my transfer paperwork. At knockoff I got her final text. Project manager opening at the new branch. Attached was the recommendation, her signature's last stroke shaky with ink. I never picked up the separation letter. Snow fell the day of her wedding. From a deli across the street I watched bridal satin sweep the red carpet. My phone buzzed, an anonymous courier box. Inside were all the drafts we had annotated together. Every margin doodled with weeping smiley faces. At the bottom lay those pearl drops, one speckled dark red. I carried the box to the shredder and watched paper confetti swallow the cartoons. I remembered one late night when she'd blown smoke against my ear and said, sincerity is the most worthless chip on the table. Beyond the glass wall the first snow blanketed the city. I took the pearl I'd kept in my wallet and fed it to the shredder. When the metal teeth bit down, I almost caught the cedar patchouli scent again. The 127th time I smelled cedar. Zhen was bent over my monitor. Her pearl drops dangled, scattering flecks of light across the comment box of my spreadsheet. Manager Sue's profit forecast is timid. She stroked the trackpad and lifted my number 15%. On wall, they call that negative space. I stared at the pale band on her ring finger. Director Chang's a style is certainly aggressive. Depends on the asset. She clamped her hand over mine on the mouse. Warmth seeped through silk. You still haven't deleted last Thursday's surveillance clip, have you? The break room coffee maker hummed. As I stood, her heel hooked my chair wheel. Blue with double creamer, right? Her eyes flicked to my Adam's apple. You chug 2 cups before every meeting. We froze in the hallway shadow until Lily passed. fast with a stack of folders. Zhen stepped back, hair grazing my nose. 3 o'clock. I want the new deck. The storm hit without warning. I found her in the fire stair. Half a pack of menthols had become a carpet of butts. Bare feet balanced on the exit sign. The third button of her silk blouse missing. A gift from the fiancé? I nudged the Tiffany box aside with my shoe. She grabbed my tie. Cedar and nicotine flooding my lungs. Did you bug the 28th floor storage closet? Lipstick smudged my jaw. Or were you after this? Her fingers slipped inside my jacket. My recorder pen glinted coldly in her palm. The board's classified chat from last week crackled between us. Zhen, your father is moving assets. I locked her wrist. Those offshore accounts. She bit my throat. Pain detonated as the fire door slammed in the wind. Alex, you have no idea how the capital game is played. She yanked my shirt open. This bite mark is worth 30 million. Believe me? Rain slashed across the glass curtain wall. We tore at each other in the half-dark, her spine grinding against the red steel housing of the hydrant. Go ahead, report me now, she hissed, nails hooking into my shoulder blade. Let the whole floor see how the star analyst torpedoed a $10 billion takeover. My phone flashed, a push alert that the fiancé had rented out Skyview. Zhen laughed, slid the recorder pen under my belt buckle. Early wedding gift. Don't forget the cash envelope. She turned. I caught the fresh rose newly inked above the waistband of her skirt, petals hiding the date of our first kiss. The weeping emoji from those encrypted emails flickered in my head. I grabbed her ankle and yanked off the stiletto. Zhen, you're a goddamn coward. She crashed onto the fire stair. Watch crystal spider webbing. What about you? She stamped, splintering the face, shards spearing her soul. Blood beaded. She kept smiling. Sincerity can't buy a single seat on the board. I fed the shredder until dawn. The transfer order Zhen signed and the gilt wedding invite knotted together, whimpering as the blades ate them. The anonymous courier came at 3 a.m., a small box. Inside, the pearl drops, crusted with dried blood and her perfume. An unknown number lit my screen. Cedar in Manhattan smells better than Lujiazui. Attachment, Zhen in white silk. Selfie in a mirror. Love bruise I'd left on her neck still blooming. I walked to the 28th floor blind spot and hit the recorder one last time. Zhen's breath mixed with rain. Alex, your heartbeat is throwing off my merger model. Dawn broke. The shredder spat the final scrap, mother of pearl flecked with red. When housekeeping came, I pointed at the confetti and said, that's the most expensive bride price ever paid. Wedding day. I waited under the plane trees across from the church. Zhen stepped out of the limo in a Vera Wang mermaid gown. Cedar and camellia floated the whole block. The Cartier on her fourth finger threw blade-sharp light that stung my retinas. Manager Sue here for the free champagne? The VP sunned past me gilded candies. The foil was stamped with the headline of the closed deal. I stared at the faint claw marks above his collar and remembered the blood-spattered hotel photo in my encrypted inbox. When the organ swelled, I slipped into the confessional. Zhen's train brushed the velvet curtain. The freckle behind her ear danced in candlelight. Father, I've sinned through greed. Which commandment? I whispered, thumb on the recorder's pause button. She yanked the curtain aside. The diamond-spun veil snagged my tie. 7th, she murmured, communion wine on her tongue as she kissed my Adam's apple. Coveting what isn't mine. We collapsed behind the Madonna. Her knee pressed the scar on my inner thigh. Deal signs tonight. Daddy bugged the ballroom. The platinum band scraped my belt. Got enough memory on that pen? The choir hit fortissimo. She bit my cufflink loose. The micro camera rolled across the marble. 3 million to buy your silence. Or fingers diving into my inside pocket. Should I tattoo the password of the offshore account across your back? I ripped the pearl strand. 300 Akoya beads canonied down the steps. Dead center, a chip flashing cold, the key her father used to spirit assets away. Zhen, you're crazier than I budgeted for. The silicone was still warm from her skin. She tore the corset open. The rose over her heart seeped ink and blood. Go destroy me now. Or crimson fingertip on my lip. Stay my accomplice. The organ died. Applause exploded from the banquet hall. The MC announced the bridal retreat. Zhen shoved the blood-soaked bouquet at me. Among the camellia petals, a note, 10 p.m. 28th floor blind spot. I waited in the fire stair until 2. She appeared in shredded silk. An electronic anklet flashing. Daddy's wedding gift. 37 lenses in the honeymoon suite, she said, slicing open my shirt and sinking teeth into the old bruise. But here, nails carving the rose tattoo on my back. Capital hasn't branded us yet. We fell across the scattered pearls. Her solitaire scraped sparks from the concrete. Alex, remember this ache, she said, blood pooling between our locked fingers. It's truer than any vow. Morning slid through the blast-proof glass. A Swiss vault key nestled in my jacket lining. Zhen stood over the shredder, grinding the wedding ring to platinum dust. New snow is melting. Go check if the squirrels in Central still steal bagels from wall suits. Outside, CNBC blamed the deal on regulatory overhang. My phone buzzed, and I ICU selfie, Zhen flipping the bird. Monitors tracing a steady pulse. The last shred the machine coughed up was the minutes of the day we met. On the back, her new red ink footnote, premium on sincerity, 300%. Bid still failed. Cedar faded from the air. I slipped the pearl from my pocket watch crystal. The blood on it had blackened. The exact shade of the moon the night we first tasted each other in the fire stair. While the shredder still hummed, Lily tapped my office door. Manager Sue. Director Zhen wants you on the roof. Her eyes flicked. Says there's a delivery that needs a wet signature. I pushed onto the rooftop terrace. Zhen was watering potted pothos in flats. Silk sleeves rolled to the elbow. Veins blue as pilot ink. Board killed the takeover, she said, handing me the file. Cedar clinging to her fingertips. Risk coefficient too high. You voted against it? I noticed her ring finger bare. She laughed, parting the leaves to expose new sprouts. Last quarter you massaged the depreciation rate on line 7, a 6% tweak even the new finance intern spotted. Sunlight gilt her lashes. Finance chose not to escalate. Why cover me? Because she misted my tie. The glitch was adorable. Like the day you spilled blue over your Armani helping me collate. Wind scythed between the towers. Her face went grave. Companies spinning up a green energy unit. On the back of the term sheet, she'd highlighted the cap table. I need a partner who can play dumb on cue. She slid a latte across the table. Under the saucer lay an ESOP letter. Whole milk. No sugar. Right. Manager Sue. I stare at the amethyst bracelet on her wrist. Director Zhen. You even memo the receptionist's snack preferences? Only the ones worth remembering. She taps a clause in the agreement. 15% of the new division. Enough to trade for those 37 identical navy suits in your closet? Lily walks in hugging files while we're playing chess in the break room. Zhen captures my night with her queen. Clean energy is like this game. You have to give to get. She lowers her voice. Sacrifice the board's stale rules. And gain. Gain what? I slide my bishop. She yanks off my glasses. A chance to rewrite the rules. Turn the takeover into an ESOP. For instance, late one night she elbows my door open. Laptop clutched to her chest. Look. On screen is a geothermal patent heat map. If we loop in tech, need coffee. Director Zhen. I lift the creamer. Double creamer? She clamps my wrist. Stop pretending. You know I'm talking about the geothermal plan. Chief was your senior at Stanford. The mouse wheel whirs. I want you to. Thunder cracks. The lights die. And she falls against me. When the backup LEDs kick in, our noses are almost touching. Alex. You smell like warm paper. Exactly like the first draft I lost the year I was at Wall. On launch day she straightens my tie backstage. Hammer the employee ownership numbers. Board stuck a mic on row 3. I steady her trembling fingers. Come up with me? She shakes her head. The amethyst bracelet scatters shards of violet. I'm a defective product stamped by Capital. She slips a flash drive into my pocket. But you can be the new rule. Under the spotlights she signs our homemade code from the console. When I say, let every employee become a changemaker, she hits the dead of his button and a cedar tree-shaped equity graph blooms across the LED wall. After the after party I find her repotting plants in the courtyard. Moonlight slicks her new pixie cut. Board signed my resignation because the green push cannibalized legacy revenue. I kneel and scoop soil because I'm going to teach in the mountains. She smears mud across my shirt, then opens her fist. A seed. This is the real green energy. I close my hand over her dirty one. When do you leave? When it sprouts. She tilts her chin at the sky. When we teach finance rookies how to discount hope. Night air carries cedar scent and the faint rustle of new vines. Zhen slaps a L against my chest. Fingertip denting the third button. Your depreciation math is off. Manager Sue. The cedar note mixes with the cool mint on her breath. Want me to tutor you? Hands on. I pin her wrist to the desk. The fountain pen gouges mahogany. Director Zhen logs how many scoops of creamer I take. But miss the trap I planted on purpose? She grinds her stiletto up my calf. What? You expect me to blush and call you brilliant like some intern? Her nail grazes my Adam's apple. You biting your pen cap while revising V3? Adorable. This poker face isn't avoiding me? She presses an ice cube to my nape. Didn't avoid me in the fire stair last week when you wrenched my blouse. I trap her against the sanitizer cabinet. You stepped on my lenses first because you were ogling my waist through them. She nips my ear. Wall's balding gatekeepers never have the guts. Heartbeats racing. Manager Sue. She lights my throat with her phone. Same cadence the night the board killed your last deal. I turn the flashlight on her loosened collar. Director Zhen's collarbones beat any earnings curve. Yeah. She yanks my tie until my back hits the cool elevator glass. Then why haven't you noticed I switch perfume daily to mask your ink smell? Deals approved. She slaps the file to my chest. Condition, Come to my place tonight and audit the numbers. I stop her fingers at my shirt studs. Does Zhao know you tattooed the bet on clause on your inner thigh? She bites my lower lip hard enough to draw blood. Did you know every time you say risk contained, I'm counting the claw marks under your shirt? Studied enough? She straddles me, mouse wheel digging into the small of her back. This Aesop has bigger holes than your tie clip. I crush the menthol between her fingers. Director Zhen's moans, outperform last quarter's EPS. She yanks the blinds open. Want security to watch your due diligence? Last night's KPIs were crushed. She toys with the tie I shredded. But Manager Sue's risk assessment, her heel grinds a button into the carpet. I'd add a heart rate line item. I lock her wrist as she retouches her lipstick. Time for an honesty clause in your performance metrics. I murmur against the faint freckle behind her ear. You never took that morning after pill. Motion overruled. Zhen hurls coffee across the opposition director's lapel. Manager Sue's proposal passed my personal overnight audit, every line. She crunches glass as she leans over my chair, especially the after hours section. I twist my pen against her thigh. Need me to recite Director Zhen's revision notes? Absolutely. She sits on my desk in front of them. Start with the equity file you found on my living room rug. The elevator's sudden blackout swallowed every breath. Zhen's phone haloed my rolling Adam's apple. Your pulse was a lot steadier last week when you voted down the merger, she said. That was before Director Cheng undid her third shirt button. I loosened my tie. The metal tie bar flashed cold light. Didn't Wall teach you the safety rules for enclosed spaces? She slid a menthol candy wrapper along my jaw. He taught me how to weigh risk against return, she whispered, her breath brushing the faint mole behind my ear. Right now, for instance, your pupils are dilated 37%. Rain lashed the plate glass wall. Zhen's soaked silk shirt clung to her shoulder blades. The new energy proposal passed, she said, tucking wet hair behind her ear, on one condition, you present it to the board yourself. I wiped the smear from her lip line. Does Chairman Cheng know you tucked the bet on clause inside the solar tile data? He ought to know, she answered, hauling me against the glass by my tie, that last year's renovation of his office cost enough to buy 3 inspection units. The storm burst into cedar-scented spray behind us. Morning light spilled over the trampled printouts. Zhen crunched toward me across shredder confetti. KPI crushed, she said, but the risk assessment, she stopped short. The amethyst bracelet slid into my palm. Forgot this variable? I unfolded the mountain school blueprint she'd hidden behind the espresso machine. The kids want to know when the fairy who teaches photovoltaics is coming. She tore her hair tie to bind my sliced finger. When that fairy is slaughtering people across a negotiation table, she muttered. Mud blooming like blood across her cuff. She can't worry whether her crystal shoes get scuffed. Gunpowder fogged the boardroom. Zhao's agarwood beads slammed the projection screen. Let frontline employees own shares. Child's play. Zhen hurled coffee across the financials. In 2003 you borrowed the team-building budget to trade stocks. Was that child's play? Her heel ground glass shards. Want me to pull the Swiss files? Director Cheng. I gripped her shaking shoulder. Thermostat too low? Need a blanket? She flung me off. Nails screeched across the table. Manager Sue's green proposal is cleaner than some people's pension funds. The wall screen flashed live carbon trading data. Audit me. Bring it on. In the garage. Engines snarled. Zhen tossed me a helmet. Last chance, SEC headquarters, or rewrite the game, she called, straddling the bike. I clicked the buckle at her waist. Your perfume is all the GPS I need. Pursuing headlights glared in the mirror. No fake depreciation cushion this time. Cold dawn washed the securities tower. Zhen slid a USB into the terminal. Will earnest feeling cover the collateral? 300% premium is just right. I dabbed blood from her lip. Let Cedar scent drown every whiff of copper. Data streams drifted like ticker tape. The green energy index bloomed into a forest across the LED walls. Zhen snapped her pearl strand and scattered it skyward. Tell the kids these are Cedar seeds for the new era. She tucked the boarding pass inside my jacket. Fingertip tapping the Swiss invitation. Page 3 surprise in the speech. Still time to back out. In the jet's roar, the faint mole behind her ear flickered between cabin shadow and sun. I opened the folder. A ring sketch made of solar tile parts fluttered out. Crayon letters crawled in the margin. Teacher Sue. How many sun panels does a wedding ring cost? Sloppy risk work. Director Cheng. I twirled the drawing. Photovoltaic crystals flashed tiny rainbows. The mountain school's annual output could melt 300 rings. She yanked my tie loose. The seatbelt latch clicked. Your romantic cost accounting has improved. Manager Sue. Mint breath brushed the penciled ring. But the board will ask which ledger line hides the proposal budget. When the cart rolled past, she spun her tablet toward me. New Energy Alliance logo? See the little sun you once sketched on my report? More like the amethyst bracelet you lost. I opened the 3D file. Green data spiraled into a DNA helix. Chief says this took you 3 sleepless nights. Cloud sea surged beyond beyond the window as she leaned on my shoulder. Not as brutal as the night you cornered me in the fire stair. The belt cinched the silk over her waist. You were holding more than the merger package that time. Under Swiss spotlights she snapped her pearls. Beads ricocheted across the lectern. These pearls watched the filthiest moves of the money game. Now they'll witness. I pressed the remote. The screen cut to a live feed from the mountains. Kids hoisted solar tiles into a giant ring. Cedar models shimmered iridescent. Sister Zhen, we stored the sun to forge your ring. 3 heartbeats of silence, then applause startled doves outside the hall. In the roar she fisted my tie and bit my collar open in front of the cameras. Time for a raise. Manager Sue. On the red-eye home she slept against my shoulder. An email pinged. Swiss share transfer notice listing us side by side as beneficiaries. The attachment showed Zhao. Agarwood beads clicking. Teaching kids to plant cedar seedlings. Your virus code worked. Director Chang. I stroked her new bob cut. Even the most stubborn capital is photosynthesizing. She nuzzled my neck half asleep. This is the real merger, she murmured. Cedar scent soft between breaths. Acquire the stink of money with pure feeling. Dawn broke as we descended. Zhen folded the ring sketch into a paper plane and sent it gliding toward the tarmac. Tell the kids their son, she grabbed my hand and sprinted for the jet bridge, is about to light our own sunrise. The arrival hall screens flashed a news ticker. Caldwell pledges all carbon credits to an education fund. The feed cut to us running hand in hand. A boarding pass floated down bearing 2 childish signatures in the passenger boxes. True feeling Zhen, 300% Alex.